Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen, joined by producer Steve. The Colorado Avalanche are headed to the Stanley Cup Finals with, ironically enough, a game-winning goal from Laakkonen, same guy who sent the Montreal Canadiens to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Fun fact, just an overall, game, honest to God, the first 40 minutes of the game were absolute bore factory, right, Steve? It's like this game could have went either way, and then 6 goals in the third period. The floodgates just opened, and then an early overtime goal by Laakkonen for the Colorado Avalanche to send them to the Stanley Cup Finals. Steve, your opening thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, some similar thoughts there. I mean, Kel McCarr gets that early power play goal. You think, oh boy, their stars are doing the things that they do. But, a lot of shot attempts here and there, but, relatively quiet first period after that. Second period, the Oilers started running away with the game there. 3 unanswered goals. And we thought that was going to be the exciting part. And then the third period started and all hell broke loose. Just absolute insanity. Everybody that you want to see on the scoreboard for both sides are there. 2 goals for Zach Hyman, a Connor McDavid tally, 4 assists for Draisaitl. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins even gets some contribution out there. Obviously, Kel McCarr scores the first, then Devon Taves, Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen. Everyone on the top line is contributing. All the people that you expect to see contributing or doing what they get paid the money to do. And then, I mean, I haven't really seen any Oilers fans saying that they got robbed on that, high stick call at the. I feel like that was right on the threshold of where it ought to have been to be called a good goal. I don't think you could have challenged that too much harder than they did.
Yeah, I mean,
it was right at shoulder height, and at that point, it's basically inconclusive whether you could really make the argument that it's higher than his shoulder to the point that the goal should be taken away. I think they made the right call on the ice there, and took about as much time as you want to review. If they waited 5+ minutes just to confirm that yes, it was right at the line of his shoulder, and then, delayed the celebration, that would have just been kind of.
Yeah, I mean, again, up against it, you have to do your due diligence there, make sure the goal is good. I know I saw a lot of back and forth on Twitter, mostly, people rooting for the Oilanders. I said Oilanders. It's almost midnight.
Dewey's
the
gonna
Oilers
come up here and slap you for that.
advocating for it to be no goal for obvious reasons, but yeah, I agree, man. The height is the height of the crossbar, clearly below the crossbar. Easy call for me, but again, you got to do your due diligence, especially with such an important goal like that. To send whichever team or the Avalanche to the Stanley Cup Finals. How about just the play of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl up until this point? I was looking at their numbers, 33 and 32 points each, McDavid and Draisaitl, in 16 games. And honest to God, I think it blows my mind. They looked way too comfortable with a 2-goal lead in the third period there, because defense just was out the window. And Mike Smith, he's the type of guy. Again, I know he's 41 years old. He's so far past his prime, but you got to come up with some saves there, bud. You got to find a way to make a save in such a crucial moment there. Your season on the line, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And again, the defense did not do him any favors at all. But you got to come up with a save, bud.
Yeah, definitely not tonight. I mean, for the most part, I haven't had too many complaints about what I've seen the defense do in the Oilers camp. Darnell Nurse is playing fine, Tyson Berry's playing fine, Cody Cece's playing fine. Those top 3 of 6 guys are not playing objectively bad defense. Just tonight was, you really need them to take a few block shots when it's a do or die game against a team as stacked as the Avalanche. And yeah, I don't want to say that like Mike Smith completely imploded like Tristan Jarry in that one series, but it was kind of like somewhere between that bad and like maybe just like slightly less awful than the Sergei Bobrovsky performance we saw a couple years past, where he was just like, yikes, big yikes, bad. It was somewhere in between that Bobrovsky woof and then that Tristan Jarry woof. Oh my goodness!
I could agree with you more.
Yeah. Tonight was just not Mike Smith's night, and unfortunately, he didn't have a choice. It had to be his night, and now we know why. That was it.
Yeah, we're done here. And bringing up, I'm going to bring up right now the score sheet again. 4-point nights from guys like McKinnon and Cale Makar. Cale Makar, man, I if they win the cup, even if they don't win the cup, I am hard pressed to not give that guy the Conn Smythe. Like, he has just been an absolute wagon on the blue line for the Colorado Avalanche. Just been so consistent. I don't know how many 3- and 4-point nights this guy has had since the start of the playoffs. And, Darcy Kemper, when he was playing, he played well, but at the same time, like, he's not Vasilevsky. He's not Shesterkin, and same thing with Francois, played well enough to win, but you've needed your playmakers and your elite players to produce. And Cale Makar has just been an absolute electric factory since the start of the playoffs. And again, I guess another 4-point night tonight, and not everything is always so flashy. He makes simple plays. He makes the right plays. And then he makes the flashy finesse, elite level talent plays. And he's damn near perfect out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue that Cale Makar you can't make an argument that Cale Makar is not the future of the blue line.
I lied. 5-point night tonight. That means he must have assisted on the game winner.
No, of course he did. He, that shot from the point was from Cale Makar, so he got the primary assist on that. But it's hard to make an argument that Cale Makar is not like the blueprint that every offensive defenseman is going to try to model themselves over for years to come. And I hope that the amount of money that he's earned kind of puts everybody else in perspective. It's like, he gets that contract because he's Cale fucking Makar.
Yep.
You're going to get 5 to 6.
Assuming NHL.com hasn't already updated their stats, which they probably haven't. He has 22 points in 13 games in 14 games as a defenseman, which is friggin' banana lands. Yeah. Just an absolute, again, best player on the ice for Colorado.
Irresponsible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you put something like that against him and Devon Taves against, Duncan Keith.
Islanders fans hate their lives watching these playoffs, knowing that they let that guy go. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Sorry, Dewey. That's rough, buddy. Sorry, Dewey.
We got a new subscriber here. Matthew Mondragon. Hope I pronounced it right. Let's go Avalanche. I agree. I'm all on the bandwagon. I was actually rooting for the Oilers. I said it again. Oilers. Oilers to start the playoffs just because of the nice feel-good story with the young boy Ben, who's been through so much in his life, kind of been drawn as an inspiration for the Oilers. Yes, I think the Oilers. Put it on a T-shirt. But
the color schemes match. It's perfect.
It would be. But he has drawn so much inspiration, not just the team, but the fan base. So I was a little bit there on the Oilers bandwagon, just because of him. But I think it's hard to bet against the Avalanche right now with how well they're playing. And maybe again, this Rangers Lightning series can go either way, man. It's hard to call right now. Tampa Bay turned it on. They found their power play, in game 3 to win that game. And the Rangers power play has been almost virtually unstoppable. And I kind of said it to start that series. I think this series, goaltending will not be an issue for either team. It's going to come down to special teams. Who has a team that's going to produce more on special teams? Who's going to kill the most penalties? And right now it's been the Rangers. The Rangers have been, again, virtually almost unstoppable on the power play. But Tampa Bay had to be better on the power play, and they were in Game 3. And I think they need to carry that into Game 4 to tie it up going back into New York. We'll see what happens. But that series can go either way. I think the star power, it's on the obvious side of Tampa Bay, with Shesterkin's needing to be channel his inner Dominic Hasek to steal that series for the Rangers, which he's been doing essentially. So I think without him, that could have been a sweep. But the kid line has been producing for them as well, though. So it should be interesting, man. But again, couple clicks for the Colorado Avalanche. Great performance. Finishing off the sweep, being down for most of this game, 4-2, then scoring 3 unanswered goals, letting them come back and tie it, and then winning it early in overtime. Good for them. Joe Sakic has put himself together a phenomenal hockey team, and it was kind of like Stanley Cup or bust this year, right? You need to get to the finals, and they did it.
Yeah, I mean, this has been something that they've been working towards for many, many years now. Like, more or less, the core of this team has remained the same for the past few seasons, and they've got more progress every year. I want to say last year was another second-round exit. I think the year before that as well. So, yeah, I mean, to finally make it to the finals for the first time in a long time, but this is your core. I mean, this shouldn't really be a surprise to anybody. I mean, they're following the blueprint that, teams like the Lightning and the Blues have put together. Like, you need to be a complete team from top to bottom. And even if you have 2 of the best forwards in the league playing 2 point per games on average in the postseason, that is not enough. You need strong defense. You need a goalie that's going to show up every night. And that's ultimately what this came down to. Like, Darcy Kemper and Francois, when they're on, they're A-tier goalies. They're not quite that truly elite level, but when they're on their game, they're A. But then when they're off it, they're like a B. They're not horrible, but they're not, stuff's getting past them that they might have caught on a better day. The disparity is that a guy like Mike Smith or Mikko Koskinen, like, their threshold is like, their like peak is like an A-, but then when they're off, it's like, it can be a C, it can be a D, it can just be, trying to stop a beach ball and somehow failing, and
Yeah.
I mean, obvious, we can criticize, not building a complete team all we can, but I mean, yeah, there was definitely a little part of me that wanted the Oilers to push farther than they did with those 2 incredible stars on their team. But I hope that, getting that far this time instead of just getting swept by the Jets or something. Yeah, we got to keep that up forever. I just kind of hope that that's like a wake-up call that, maybe they do need to start thinking about getting those glue guys. But I mean, the bigger question is, how do you do that? Who stays, who goes? Do you see some of their slightly less productive skill forwards like Puljujarvi and Yamamoto search for greener pastures in exchange for some of those glue guys that you love so much, that most teams, like successful teams like these, love so much? The glue guys, the guys that, they might be in your middle 6, but night in and night out, they're going to fucking provide for you. They might be there for a clutch pass that, a lesser player is just not going to make, and that clutch pass is going to lead to that game-tying goal that saves your entire series, saves your entire season. And I just don't think that – I guess they just don't have that third heat that you really need to push to that next level. And again, that's not to say that, the Oilers played like a bad series. They played a great series, but they just had to play it against one of the strongest teams in the league, and they just couldn't.
What more could you ask from probably the best 2 players in the world than what you got out of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl? Like, what more could they have done?
They literally could not have done a single thing more than they could.
Yeah,
they were dog tired. Like, you could see it in that third period. Like, they were.
I gotta see.
Everything they got.
I got to see his time on ice tonight. It had to be friggin'. It has to be out of this world. Not including overtime. You have to imagine McDavid just was on, because I know he played on. He started the game on a line with Leon and Puljujarvi. I I have to see what his time on ice was, because that has to be insanity.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that first game he was up like somewhere in like the 25 range, and
Well,
that was like insane.
McDavid, just after the first period alone, 9 minutes and 36 seconds on the ice, just after the first period. McDavid was on the ice for 26 minutes and 1 second, 31 total shifts. Cale Makar, 28 minutes and 12 seconds, 38 shifts. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, you're getting your money's worth.
Honestly, I would have guessed over that, though, for McDavid. Honestly, I would have.
Yeah, I mean, again, in every shift he's given it his all. Like, you really can't ask more of a superstar than that, for real.
You can't.
It's absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, it just, again, if you want to hang in the postseason, you got to build a complete team. And as much as I love those players, as much as I love some of those skill guys, like, I know he's not the flashiest player, but I really love players, like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Like, I like that guy. I wish him nothing but the best. I just think I don't know, there's just something about him. I just think he's a good dude. I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's in the shadow of two of the most elite forward talents on that team. Like, it's kind of hard to – I just feel like if a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins type was playing in, like, the second or third pairing in Buffalo, he'd be he could be all that and maybe even a bag of chips, just comparatively. But I mean, when you're in the shadow of two giants like that, it's tough to get your name out there.
Yep. Another question here from Matthew. Do you think Nas comes back? Was it announced that he's done?
I think they announced that he had a quick surgery to fix a broken thumb. They haven't outright said that he's officially out. But the prognosis is that it's not looking good.
35 minutes ago from Emily Kaplan with ESPN, Colorado Avalanche center Nazem Kadri underwent thumb surgery on Monday, sources confirmed to ESPN. It's unclear if Kadri will be able to return for the Stanley Cup Finals after Colorado advanced there by sweeping the Edmonton Oilers on Monday night, again, per Emily Kaplan. I think that if Kadri can play, he's going to play. Even if he's at 75%, the Avalanche are still a better team with him out there. Like, just everything that guy provides, just not his goal scoring ability. Just he gets in the corners, he grinds. He's not afraid to be physical. We all know how he is in front of the net. Just creating havoc, be getting in the eyesights of the goaltenders. The distractions he provides in front. I should know all this lingo as a goalie. I just can't think of it right now. But the overall chaos Nazem Kadri brings to the ice, I have to imagine him even at 75%, it makes that a better Oilers team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if Kadri has the capacity to play even at 0.5%, given his history of getting suspended in the postseason, I think if he has the physical capacity to play and no one's telling him he's not allowed to step on the ice, he's going to fucking do it. He might be serving in a bottom six role, so somebody with a little bit less injury can take a spot on the – because if I'm not mistaken, he is a right winger or a left winger. Yeah, so maybe like Nichushkin. Right now, they had Nichushkin on that first line with McKinnon, Landeskog, and Burakovsky stepped in on that second line where I believe he's made his bread and butter this year. So he might bump a buddy like Abe Kubel to play with Comfort and Newhook, which makes for a pretty darn good third line. If it's like a half capacity Kadri with those two guys, I still think that line can do some serious damage.
Right. So I can't get enough of that one.
And yeah, I mean, they have the good fortune of having all that extra time to rest now. So, I mean, he has more time to recover. He has the most possible time he could to recover to be back by game one. But even if he's not back until game 2 or game 3, I mean, I think his presence is still going to be a big difference maker. I think he's going to, even if he has to serve in like a third line role, I still think he's going to make a big impact more than people realize, even with a busted thumb.
Yeah, I just looking at his numbers here, 14 points in the 13 games played this year in the playoffs. Overall career, man, he's been close to a point per game player 43 points in 49 games played over the course of his career. We all know he had like close. At one point, he was considered, in the MVP race early on in the season with how well he was playing. 28 goals and 87 points in 71 games over the season. Guy has just always been consistent, right? Like, he provides a different dynamic to the game that maybe you don't see on charts or graphs. Just again, overall, the ability to score goals. Like, he's such an annoyance out there. He's a fly, right? He's a fly, and people hate to play against him, but you would love him on your team. Almost sometimes the way you say about Brad Marchand, but Marchand's just a little bit more of an elite level talent. Nothing against Kadri, because this has been really his breakout year, so to speak, the one year that he'll finally cash in come free agency, which I don't know if Colorado can afford to keep him around.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like Colorado has quite a few. They do have a considerable amount of cap space right now at $26 million, but they do also have some other deals to consider.
Yep.
I mean, none of them are. I mean, the elephant in the room would be: do they decide to keep Darcy Kemper around, or does he walk out the door?
Yeah.
They do have Francois nestled in.
I think they're gonna have to go find another goalie
at $2 million. Although, it's entirely possible. I mean, some of the guys that they need to sign that seem like obvious. Yeah, of course, we got to re-sign that guy, Lehkonen, Burakovsky, Nichushkin, of course.
But are they willing to pay Kadri what he's going to demand in free agency at his age?
Yeah, that's the big question. I guess it could be
kind
a
of
situation
very
where
Jeff Skinnerish, right?
Yeah,
maybe not the exact same age, but I mean, maybe it is. I don't even know. But very Jeff Skinnerish, when Skinner had his 40-goal season playing on Eichel's wing. Very similar situation.
Yeah, I mean, he could definitely get a fat raise if he wanted it. But if this is a team that makes a big league push, even if they don't, maybe he signs for a few years at a little, not quite a haircut, but not the full peak of what he could make in the offseason with a team that just has endless cap space just so he can stay with the winner. Like how the Bruins built their franchise for the longest time. Like, they got their big stars to sign for barely 6 or 7. And I mean, they're kind of doing the same thing here. Like, yeah, Mikko Rantanen makes 9, but Landeskog makes 7 flat. McKinnon's got one more year at 6.3. Obviously, Cale Makar deserves 9. That's not even a fucking question. But, if a guy like Kadri finds himself 5.5 just to stay with a group of winners for the next 4 or 5 years, I mean, that's still a raise for him. I think he's making 4 or 5 right now. So to get an extra mil, maybe throw some, performance incentives where we make it to the Western Conference Finals again, you get an extra couple mil. Fuck it, let's go. I guess if it were me, if I could be Nazem Kadri and keep playing with a team that I have chemistry with, and I'm winning with, that I'm enjoying my role with, and maybe only make 5-6 mil, or make 7 to 8, just going to some team that is very clearly struggling, but also very clearly has the money to pay me exactly what I'm worth in the open market.
Yep.
I think I would make the choice to just stay with a bunch of winners and make a little less, because I think ultimately, while I make less money, I would probably ultimately have more fun consistently winning. And I think that that's ultimately what this team is built to do. I mean, Rantanen 25, Landeskog's 29, McKinnon's only 26, JT Compher, he's locked in for another 3 years at one just barely over $1 million, and that kid's gonna be good as shit. Again, if I were Kadri's agent, as much as I would love to get a shit ton of money, I would also just love to stay with a team that's winning as much as this, and then throw that little bit of extra money and maybe trying to nestle in a younger goalie contender to come. If Buffalo nestles in a guy like Husso, maybe go after Campbell or vice versa.
Well,
if we get one, you take the other. That's fine. They're both 20.
I've seen on Twitter there's some speculation around Buffalo maybe being after a guy like Jack Campbell, which I wouldn't be against. Obviously he's coming from a team like Toronto, which is one of the higher scoring teams in the league, to Buffalo, where maybe you don't have the advantages of, having, the ability to give, not, I don't want to say give up a bad goal, but, or a bad goal, but, not have the luxury of a high scoring offense every single night to bail you out if you are having an off game. And then another thing was PK Subban, which is an interesting thought. I know he's a very polarizing player, and people think that, he's very himself. He self-promotes a lot, which I have no problem with players who self-promote as long as it doesn't distract you from the game or your team. And it would make sense because I had a feeling they're going to keep Malcolm Subban around, and, it would make sense. I never heard bad things about PK in the locker room. It would be an interesting dynamic because I think Buffalo has a type of culture here where they're on the up and up, and maybe this is a place where PK can really find his game again. We'll see. Coming from teams, playing well as he did in Nashville, and then I think where did he go after Nashville? He was with New Jersey. Was it just New Jersey?
Yeah, I believe it was Montreal for a really, really long time, then Nashville, then Jersey.
Yep.
I don't think there was another pit stop in there.
Okay, so I mean, New Jersey was just a struggling team, always found themselves in the bottom of the league, much like Buffalo. So again, I don't know. We expect this blue line to be a lot stronger next season. I don't know where a PK Subban would fit in, if people think that he would fit in the top 4 and that would slot a guy like Yoki Haru down, or if you would have PK be your third pairing guy. Who knows? I don't know. That's a lot to think about. And then again, Jack Campbell, he'd be a very good stopgap to the next guy. I don't know if he would perform to the level with Buffalo as he did in Toronto. Obviously, there's a lot less pressure in Buffalo than there is in Toronto, being the hockey mecca of North America. But it's hard, it's hard to believe that there'd be as much pressure. So maybe that would be to his advantage. But again, you would not have the high scoring ability of the Toronto Maple Leafs being able to fall back on in case you have an off night or you're letting a bad goal here or there. But again, 2 very interesting names being thrown out there. Another question here from Matthew. Do you think the Rangers will win their game? I think this goes back to New York Tide, personally.
Yeah. It's a really tough one to call. I think both the Rangers and the Lightning are both strong in the exact same ways. Obviously, you have zero questions about what's happening between the pipes. You have literally no concerns that the wheels are going to fall off for either one of those guys. Both teams are touting some of the best defensemen of the league. I mean, Adam Fox is he's just silky smooth out there. You can't really argue with a guy like Adam Fox. I'm not going to sit here and pump the tires of a guy like Victor Hedman. I'm not TNT. I don't get paid that kind of money. They'll do that until the cows come home. There's nothing that I could say about a guy like Victor Hedman that hasn't already been said. And when your team has a guy like Sergachev as your third line guy, that says everything you need to know about how goddamn strong your D-core is.
Not to interrupt you, but the Avalanche did touch the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl. They touched it. So it's always speculated to be a bad omen for anybody who makes it to the finals. I remember that Pekka wouldn't touch it. I believe it was Pekka wouldn't touch it going into the finals when Buffalo made it. It was told by Joey Juneau not to touch it back in '99. But the Colorado Avalanche, multiple players did touch the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl. Again, maybe useless fact, but was touched by teammates, considered to be a bad omen. Because that's not the trophy you're trying to win. It's the Stanley Cup, so you don't touch it.
Makes it interesting to present it then. Just somebody just hold it with white gloves. It's just like, does anyone want this? And there's thanks, but no thanks. You can give it to the runner-up. I don't want it.
McKinnon's touching it. Landeskog is touching it. And I don't know about anybody else, but those two for sure did touch the trophy.
All right. Burakovsky breakout series here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
He's going to score 2 goals a night. Calling it. Burakovsky and Nichushkin. They're going to be the heroes because apparently McKinnon and Landeskog are going to be cursed now. If any sports superstitions are truly real, they're at least going to be cursed until Kadri comes back, and then it's going to be fine.
Real quick before we wrap things up here, again brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. Goal scorers for the Avalanche tonight: Cale Makar with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. The captain Gabe Landeskog, goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Lakeinen, goal, 2 assists for 3 points. Helm with an assist for 1 point. McKinnon with a goal. Rantanen with a goal. Teus with a goal. And then Francois with 30 saves on 35 shots against. And then the Oilers, again, admirable effort. Draisaitl with 4 assists tonight. McDavid with a goal and 2 assists for 3. Zach Hyman with 2 goals. Tyson Barrie with an assist. Zach Cassidy with a huge game-tying goal there in the third period. Nugent Hopkins with a goal and Darnell Nurse with an assist. And then, again, Mike Smith, 36 saves on 42 shots against. Just need to be better. You just got to be better. So, again, he left 2 goals I think he wants back. And then, again, in a game where your season's on the line, you have to make those saves.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's a tall order against a team that good. And again,
100%.
Yeah, they've been building at this forever. You know, I don't think anyone would be surprised if he hung up his skates after this one, but I could also see him thinking maybe he's got one more year to try to prove something.
Next year, watch.
Yes, the elite tandem of Craig Anderson and Mike Smith.
Oh my God! Could you imagine 83 or 84 years between the two goals? That'd have to be a record, right? That would have to be a record.
Yo,
they brought back.
I would want them to do one of those. I would want them to do one of those sexy Playboy calendars, but it's only Craig Anderson and Mike Smith. None of the young kids, none of the actual studs. Just the two fucking dads. Oh my God!
It's just family photos. The entire calendar.
Because Mike Smith kind of looks like the Butcher from AEW, and then Craig Anderson just looks like. Just looks like the dad handing out orange slices at the local soccer game, like what a nice guy.
Right.
But God,
did you see Ryan Whitney got stuck at the airport in Toronto? Did you see any of that?
Nah, I didn't see any of that.
Oh, dude, it was any of those watching, take a look when you get a chance for at some point. So Ryan Whitney, I was just sitting here, got stuck at the airport in Toronto for 2 days, and he live streamed himself the entire time he was there. And it made national news. It was so bad, I guess.
Fuck. What was he using Air Canada? What's going? How do you get trapped in an airport for 2 full days?
I don't know. I guess his flight was delayed, then canceled, and then he came back the next day, and nothing was sorted out. I'm trying to find out. Let me see here. I'm trying to find out. It's over. What did they? Trying to find. This was his last tweet on the matter. It's over. I want to thank everyone for their T's and P's. I'm sure, obviously, thoughts and prayers, and the amazing Chicklets listeners who reached out to help. Best fans on earth, the exact opposite of Pearson International Airport. God bless anyone who has to have stepped foot in that hellhole. But before that, I live at Toronto Pearson International Airport, the worst place on earth. I smell so bad.
Yeah, I mean, most airports are not a fun place to be. Philly airport isn't all that great. I just don't think public transit spots are just a fun place to have to spend any amount of time, more than an hour. That's why, I'm looking forward to going to Portland this summer, but I'm also not looking forward to layovers for multiple hours. I hear the Chicago airport isn't half bad, but still, though, I don't really want to do that. It's going to be a whole thing.
Another tweet from it. Not exaggerating, I have never seen a crazier scenario at an airport. Pearson has about 100 canceled flights and hundreds of people in lines with one Air Canada worker at the end. There cannot be more than 5 people working here. I'm going to have a viral meltdown that is not good.
No, Ryan Whitney's going to have his own Karen moment.
Oh, my God. Anyways,
when there were 5 people working, how do you ask to see the manager? The manager.
I know, right? Who is the manager? They send you to the Burger King. You talk to their manager.
Yeah, no, they'll just be like,
I think Chalet's manager.
I think our manager's having lunch at the airport Chili's. He's the guy there eating wings with ranch.
He's on his 7th rumming, Captain and Coke over there.
Oh my god.
So, and then Ryan walks up. He goes, "Yo, Pig Whitney sucks." Starts the conversation off real well. Anyways, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Glad we could get on here, Steve. Get this done. Remember, it's brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case over on George Urban Boulevard. Make sure you get over there and pick out your favorites for game night, coming to the Stanley Cup Finals. A lot to be excited about. We'll see who pulls out this Rangers Tampa Bay series, and then we'll see who's on to play the Oilers in the finals.
No, the Oilers got eliminated. It's
the Oilanche.
All right, so it's either the storm of the century, the Avalanche versus the Lightning, or it's the Ravage. You take the RA from Rangers, throw the Av in there, the Ravage Rampage, or the Storm of the Century. I don't know which one it's going to be. This might be a controversial take, but it just might be the Rangers. I think back-to-back playoff runs might finally be catching up with the Lightning. I think they just might not have the jump in their step. I think it's going to 7 games without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I think the Rangers are just going to have that little bit of extra juice.
Yep.
To step it just above.
Yeah, and thanks obviously for hanging in there with us, people who have watched, including our newest subscriber, Matthew Mondragon. Thanks, bud, for sticking there with us. And again, this was I'll Hang Up and Listen. Colorado Avalanche on their way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Who will be meeting them there? Will it be the New York Rangers or the Tampa Bay Lightning? We'll find out tomorrow whether that series will be tied or heading to New York with a 3-1 series lead for the Rangers. Steve, thanks for hopping on, guys. Again, this is I'll Hang Up and Listen. You guys have a great morning now, and we'll talk to you next time.